This article came up in my feed, and it's titled Researchers Discover Paleolithic Cave Art Dated 66,000 Years Ago, which revealed the Neanderthals to be the first artists. So they say this Paleolithic art was found in a cave in southern Spain, and who knows how old it really is, or if it's even real, but the article says that this art indicates that Neanderthals were involved in symbolism, but they don't say what that symbolism is. But it appears to be a snake-legged being. And if it is real, and it is older than Isis and older than the Babylonian depiction of Tiamat, then it may be the first depiction of the snake-legged being, which is usually depicted as a mother goddess. All the Beast Empire cultures had a snake-legged goddess. Egyptians, Babylonians, India, Thracians, Greek, Romans. Even Isis was represented as a snake-legged goddess. Here is a depiction of her, Isis Thermuthis, from the 2nd century BC. Isis is a mother goddess and is the same as all the other mother goddesses. Isis was one of the original snake-legged mother goddesses, since she is dated to have emerged around 2350 BC, but I think the original mother goddess was Tiamat. Tiamat is the mother dragon in the Babylonian creation epic, and Tiamat is associated with primordial chaos, the disordered state from which she came, so she goes all the way back to the beginning. So regarding that chaos, I'm going to read from Genesis 1. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. But they call Lucifer as the light bearer because he wants to be like the Most High, but it was God who said, "Let there be light," not Lucifer. Here's Tiamat, depicted as a snake-legged goddess. So Tiamat is the first mother goddess, a chaos dragon. She's listed in the Realm of the Ring Lord's book at the top of the genealogy tree. And then it goes down on to Anu, the sky god, and then the pharaohs, and then those royals supposedly descended from this mother dragon. So it goes from Tiamat at the beginning, and if that cave art is real, it could be a representation of the same snake-legged mother goddess, even prior to Tiamat. Then you have Inanna or Ishtar, who was worshipped in Sumeria, 4000 BC to 2500 BC, a reptile with wings and reptile feet like Tiamat. Then you have Isis, who's depicted as a snake-legged goddess, but also as a bird. And Isis goes back to 2350 BC. The Hittites had a snake-legged goddess. In 1600s, Nagas were snake-legged gods and goddesses from India from 1300 BC, and they were androgynous. Artampasa was a complex androgynous Scythian goddess of fertility who possessed power over sovereignty and the priestly force. Artampasa was the Scythian variant of the Iranian goddess Ashi, and these were around 900 BC. And this is a depiction of Artampasa in the Orsini Monster Park in Rome, and that's a papal family, the Orsinis. The current Great Pope is an Orsini. Then you have Tanit in Carthage around 800 BC. Also in Rome, you have the mother goddess Cybele, who is an hermaphrodite. But a hermaphrodite or an androgynous being cannot be a real mother. So now I'm going to play a video that I did showing that these mother goddesses are basically all androgynous. So it can't be mothers. Mother goddess in prior videos. From that research, I've concluded that the mother goddess is nothing more than a fallen angel in drag, and all part of their sick, twisted religion. I mentioned that most of the mother goddess figures are synonymous with each other. Ishtar is an ancient Mesopotamian supposed mythology. and they've passed down Ishtar as a gender-fluid deity. Isis, and I'll cover that one in the Veil of Isis in detail later. Cybele, I've covered her in prior videos, but I will show how she is related to the depiction of the veiled Isis. Inanna, Tanit, Athena. Some describe Athena, Hestia, and Artemis as asexual. Dionysus. Androgyny is integral to his role as a god of transformation. He transverses gender and sex roles with ease. Shiva, half male, half female. Hermaphroditus, intersex deity, child of Hermes and Aphrodite. Venus, Scythian priest classes who were castrated males. Diana, probably Mona Lisa, probably Elizabeth I, the fairy queen. Michelle Obama, Bridget McCrone, castratos in the opera. Celine Dion, Celine meaning heavenly, Dion meaning follower of Dionysus. The Statue of Liberty. One depiction of Cybele, the mother goddess, hermaphrodite, in ancient Roman and Greco-Roman worship, is often depicted wearing a veil. This is a statue of the veiled Isis, goddess of life, and this was a gift from the Belgian government to Herbert Hoover. It's located at the Herbert Hoover National Historical Site in Iowa. The inscription translates from French, and that is, "I am which was and is and will ever be, and no mortal has yet lifted the veil which covers me." Isis wears a veil, a symbol of the mysteries of life. Her hand carries a torch of life. Its three flames represent the past, present, and future. Her left hand holds the key to life, so she is a light bearer. And with that torch, like the Statue of Liberty, the mother goddess. The veil motif traces back to a statue in the ancient Egyptian city of Sais, which dates back to pre-flood. The Veil of Isis statue was reported originally located in a temple of Sais, those temples were only accessible by priests. Illustrations of Isis with her veil being lifted were made popular beginning in the late 17th century during the Enlightenment, representing, quote, truths beyond scientific discovery. The 1877 book Isis Unveiled, authored by Helena Blavatsky, influenced Western esotericism, neo-pagan movements, magical and spiritual practices. The lifting of the veil is also a concept in neo-pagan witchcraft, referring to opening the veil of matter, thus gaining entry into the spirit realm. In ceremonial magic, the sign of lifting the veil is a symbolic gesture performed by the magician who has the intention of creating such an opening. The veil of Isis was often combined with Artemis, Diana, Athena, and the Egyptian goddess Neith. Neith is also illustrated as both male and female. Edmund Spenser's The Fairy Queen in the 1590s personified nature as a woman with a veil connected to Isis. This is a figurine of Isis from the 2nd century BC. And notice this looks like Artempasa, the snake-legged goddess of the Scythians and other polytheist religions. Artempasa is synonymous with Athena, and by association, the other mother goddess figures worshipped by polytheists and Luciferians. Thanks for listening. So that torch thing is the light bearer, which is one of the reasons that I think these androgynous mother goddesses are Lucifer. And if all the mother goddesses are the same...
This next song that I'm going to play is about...
Yuck. So what I was saying is, if all the mother goddesses are the same, then the mother goddess is just a snake, a reptile, like Satan, or Lucifer, a seraphim. So here is a representation of that snake-legged being from the Gnostics, the Nicolaitans, from around 300 AD, and I'm going to play a small part of this video that I did about that around 300 AD. The Nicolaitans were a group of people whose works both the church of Ephesus and John condemned. In Revelation 2, John from Jesus through the angel encounter in Revelation to the church in Ephesus said in verse 6, "But you have this in your favor. You hate the practices of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate." And then in verse 15 to the church of Pergamum, he said that he holds it against them that they hold to the teachings of the Nicolaitans. So this is the symbol on the Wikipedia page for them. And it says it's a trace of the image of a Abraxas stone from the Gnostics and their remains. And the Greek letters are IAO, which is I, Alpha, Omega. So the Nicolaitans had a mother goddess as well. So one thing I forgot to pull up, I want to pull this up now, because you saw that bird head. This Statue of Freedom here kind of has that same bird head. But the thing, you see, that's right on top of the Capitol building. Oh boy. Yeah. So then it goes down to all the mother goddesses later on, not necessarily depicted with reptilian features though, like the one in the Spanish cave, or Tiamat, or the Chaos Dragon, or Inanna with her bird wings and her reptile feet, or Isis with her snake legs and wings, but they're all reptilian and bird-like, representing a seraphim, a fallen angel in seraphic form, in which case they aren't female. Fallen angels can't be females, and they cannot reproduce without a human woman like they did in Genesis 6. This is just another depiction of Isis as the mother goddess to prove my point that they're all the same. This is Isis Aphrodite, a fallen angel in drag like Lucifer. But again, they cannot be the mother of anything since they cannot create. But they wish they could. They pretend they can, but they counterfeit. Here's Isis Fortuna. And see, she's got a torch. So, looks a lot like this one. Got a torch. So now I want to focus on Isis as the mother goddess, since she was right after the flood and has both the wings and the snake leg depiction. See here, she has an owl like Athena, because Athena is Isis. And that owl is Minerva. And both Athena and Minerva were, it says they were invoked for this goddess of freedom that sits on top of the Capitol building in D.C. and is worshipped at the Bohemian Grove. She's also represented at the Statue of Liberty. So is this Lucifer? Is this mother goddess worshipped since the beginning of time? Is it Lucifer? I think so. I've covered that in prior videos. Now, this is going to be a connection to the concept of the primordial egg, because both reptiles and birds lay eggs. So if these mother goddess reptilian bird-like creatures wanted to pretend that they created something, or were the mother of something, then that offspring would be an egg. And this primordial or cosmic egg is aligned to the Queen of Heaven, according to the History Channel video that I'm about to play. It represents ancient goddess worship, the divine feminine, and I also covered that a little bit in my video titled The Cosmic Egg, but I'm going to play what the History Channel says about it.
Kanda, the Republic of Macedonia. There, isolated on a hill in the middle of a vast steppe, sits a giant geoglyph depicting a symbol known as the cosmic egg. According to ancient mythology, it is the great egg of the universe, from which a powerful deity is often hatched or born.
The concept of the cosmic egg is universal. But what's so interesting is that a multinational team who have been investigating this site have come to the conclusion that it's orientated towards the constellation of Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia represents the Queen of Heaven.
In addition to the alignment of the egg with the Cassiopeia constellation, many scholars believe that the symbol contained in the egg represents that of the cosmic god Se.
So, he said the concept of the cosmic egg is universal, and it's aligned with Cassiopeia, representing the Queen of Heaven. And I think that's why these Luciferians are now trying to say that everything evolved from an egg. I'm going to play a video that I did about that now.
This is a short video example of how the Luciferians name things using their clue words in scientism. NASA does it a lot. Today's example is this MSN article that is being pushed on my intranet homepage for Popular Mechanics. And the title of the article is All Life on Earth Comes from One Single Ancestor, and it's so much older than we thought. And I could have guessed what they were going to say the ancestor was, but let's read some of it. It has this interesting egg imagery with a light coming out of it. And it says, all life on Earth can be traced back to a last universal common ancestor, or LUCA. So they gave it this acronym as LUCA, acronym for Last Universal Common Ancestor. And we know they love to play these games with their acronyms having other meanings. So what does the word LUCA mean? The name LUCA is derived from the Latin lucus, which means bringer of light. It may also come from the Latin word lucus, which means sacred wood, as in holy wood or sacred grove, like around Lake Nemi, where the Temple of Diana was, featured in the Golden Bough. In Hungarian and Croatian, Luca is a feminine name that is equivalent to Lucy in English. And Lucy is short for Lucifer, and Lucifer is the light bearer or the morning star. Continuing the article, it says a new study suggests that this organism likely lived on Earth 400 million years after its formation. Further analysis also shows that this life form likely supported early immune system, which means it was probably fighting off viruses. So right at the beginning of the article, the main points are the naming of it, which is LUCA, and then talking about its immune system and how it fought off viruses. Continuing, it says life on Earth had to begin somewhere, and scientists think that somewhere is LUCA, or the last universal common ancestor. True to its name, the organism represents the ancestor of every living thing, from the tiniest bacteria to the grandest of blue whales. To zero in on exactly what LUCA, or when LUCA appeared on Earth, scientists had to work backwards. The evolutionary theory of genes is complicated, they say, and they have to use complex evolutionary models to reconcile the evolutionary theory of genes with the genealogy of species. It says scientists still don't understand how life evolved from its very origins to the early communities of which LUCA is a part. Further studies will need to dive deeper into this primordial history and uncover exactly how you, me, and every other living thing came to be. They say it appeared on Earth as early as 400 million years after its creation, which puts this organism smack in the middle of the hellish geologic nightmare known as the Hadean Eon. And that's all I'm going to read from the article, but I'll just comment that the term Hadean comes from Greek mythology, where Hades was the god of the underworld, and in geological usage, it's often associated with hell because of the perception that Earth was very hot and turbulent during this time.
So I covered more about that in my playlist titled Examples, and I'll add this video to it. And also science and the theory of evolution says that humans have an ancient reptilian ancestor. But we know that evolution is a Luciferian deception, so it all goes back to religion. And in their religion, they also say we descend from a reptile that would have laid eggs. And I also think that this is why these people say that the aliens are eggs and that they come in egg ships, which I've covered in my playlist titled Examples. And this video here even talks about the cosmic egg, that everything in the universe was created from it. And at the end, he says that we are serpents. And this is one evil channel. Notice what it says on his cup. It says hiding in plain sight. I'm going to play a little bit of this now.
Period. The archetype of the cosmic egg is illustrated over and over again with a serpent coiled around it. This reminds me of the words of Christ, who encouraged his disciples to, quote, be wise as serpents. The serpent has enveloped the entire egg and now has two choices. It can crack the egg now and enjoy a minuscule meal. This is instant gratification. Or he can hold on for a moment and continue to warm the egg until it is ready to hatch on its own. And with a little patience and a lot of sacrifice, the reward of the latter is where we find the real fruit. You are the serpent. We are.
Wow. Wow, that's really, really evil. Hiding in plain sight. So I'm not sure if Satan and Lucifer are the same entity, but I do think they are both fallen angels in seraphim form. And maybe Lucifer is Satan in drag. So then that always brings me back to this question of the serpent seed. I'm going to read from Genesis 3 now. So the Lord God said to the serpent, because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. So I think Jesus wins there, of course. Okay? So the question is, what is the serpent's seed at that point in time? I think that Satan and Lucifer would like for us to think that it's an egg. But is it a spiritual seed or a physical seed being referred to there? We know that fallen angels cannot create physical beings on their own. They needed human women to do that. But was that what happened in the garden right here with the Nahash and with Satan? The Bible does not say that. But looking at the description of the Nahash, it is a shining one, a seraph. So that could have happened later with the other fallen seraphim like described in Genesis 6. And it definitely did happen later. And that would have been a serpent seed. And what we do know is that the Luciferians want us to believe that we came from reptiles or birds, from an egg. Because that's their theory, you know. In science, they say reptiles became birds also. But here's why I don't think that the serpent seed in the garden was the result of the Nahash having sexual relations with Eve. Number one, because Satan is not in the abyss yet, and that was the punishment for the other fallen angels who made it with human women in Genesis 6. Number two, because the angelic rebellion is only recorded biblically to have occurred later in Genesis 6. Number three, it is the nature of Satan to get his subjects to do his dirty work. And I think that's what he did with the fallen angels. So I think that the seed referred to in Genesis 3 was a prophecy of a coming serpent seed who would reject God and Jesus and worship the snake instead. Since we know they tell the truth in movies, we can look at this movie Angel Heart with Robert De Niro, which one of my commenters said to watch and give my thoughts. And in this movie, Robert De Niro is Lucifer. And that's the character. And he's getting Harry Angel, the character, played by Mickey Rourke, to murder his followers, Lucifer's followers, those who practice black magic, so that he can get their souls. Harry Angel's an interesting name, because Harry Angel is a hairy goat god, like the ones on the Grand Lodge of England. The egg symbolism here is obvious. The egg representing the serpent's seed, and that egg or seed are those that serve the snake, the ones who are into black magic. But that snake is not the mother of anything, and it will have its head crushed by Jesus, according to Genesis 3. But here in this movie, Lucifer mimics the crushing because they always like to invert everything. Watch this.
You'll find him.
No, I won't find him. Because I left out one little detail. This Dr. Fowler guy ended up dead with his fucking brains blown out all over the place, all right?
Fowler?
Yeah, Fowler.
Did you kill him?
No, I didn't kill him. But the cops might think I did. Hey, look, I took on a $125 a day missing persons job with you, all right? Now I'm a murder suspect. That's it, I'm out.
Such are the hazards of your profession, Mr. Angel. If the fee bothers you, we can have it adjusted.
No, Cypher, you bother me. Listen, the closest I ever come to death is standing on the corner on 2nd Avenue watching the stiffs go by in the hearse, all right? That's the way I like it.
Are you afraid?
Yeah, I'm afraid.
I'll instruct my lawyer immediately to send you a check for $5,000. If you don't want the job, I'll engage someone else.
$5,000?
5,000.
You must want this Johnny pretty bad, huh?
I don't like messy accounts. You know, some religions think that the egg is the symbol of the soul. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Would you like an egg?
No, thank you. I got a thing about chickens.
Thanks for listening.